Shalom, shalom, my little friends. Let's make sure that we are live here. Oh, make sure it's turned down. Okay. All right. So, how y'all doing this morning? Some of y'all are up, some of y'all are not, and that's all right. Recently, one of the guys, Sean, reminded me of the MK Ultra project. I know the MK Ultra project's going on. I know that things are happening with mind control and stuff. I know that. I got it. But Sean, like, saying it made me go a little deeper into it, because Marie and Sean have both definitely been a big help. There is so much going on, and with folks. We're seeing folks. Let me just remove that real quick. We're seeing more and more folks, every day, being strange, acting angry, disturbed. They don't. There's hardly anyone that you find that speaks wholesome, good conversations. It's just hardcore, really, what's going on. And so, Marie bringing up MK Ultra. I mean, not MK Ultra, but the fallen angels and music, and Satan playing music before the Lord and stuff. Her asking questions, about it, and then Sean bringing up the MK Ultra, and it really made me go in and look, because the broadcasting companies, the radios, they all have their part in the mind control, what we hear, what we see. Oh my goodness. And then it really all boils down to the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. That the Rothschilds are the ones who opened the banks over here, and the Rockefellers kind of got like all the corporations together. Oh my goodness, I'm like telling y'all what we're fixing to learn. I want to like let y'all see what I see while I'm reading, and and we're just gonna go into it. So, okay, boom. I'm still learning all this stuff. Let me make sure that it's being shown on here. I'm just gonna make sure. Oh, okay. So we have this musical cult control, and there's some things down here that we're going to read about. Now, I have like 60 pages of stuff to show y'all. I don't think we're going to go through all 60 of them because I've decided not to talk about much of the Glockenspiel this morning. I might talk about it because I did a few things of researching it, but we'll go into that maybe. Just whatever the Holy Spirit leads us to do. Because to me, this is very important, just by the simple fact of like, when we realize, when we're watching television, we're watching these shows that they give us to watch, when we're listening to this music that they give us to listen to, these controlled things that our eyes are seeing, our ears are hearing, and then all the while we have this food that's being fed to us from the grocery stores. We are seriously in the biggest MK Ultra mind control project you could probably ever imagine in your life. But remember, the Lord says, the very net that you have used to catch my people, I will catch you with that very net. I will catch, and that's what this is, that very net that he will catch them with. Because it's huge. Because everyone around the world, everyone has a cell phone. Everyone has a little device that they've got around them. So constantly the attack of sound waves, everyone's being fed food from a grocery store. Okay, I won't say everyone, because there are ones that live out in the middle of nowhere, and survive without any of this. And they're well off. They're way better well off than we are. We are protected. We'll get to that in a minute. Because we don't want to have fear over what's happening. Because the Lord, I'm just going to read it now. You know what? We're just going to read it now. Psalms 33, 7 through 10. He gathered the waters of the sea together as a heap. He layeth up the depth in storehouses. Let all the earth fear the Lord Yahuwah. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spake, and it was done. He commanded, and it stood fast. The Lord Yahuwah bringeth the counsel of the Gentiles, the heathen, to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. He maketh the devices, and that word devices is cunning work, curious work, imagination. A machine, thought. Okay, so all this that they hit us with, right, through these machines, these devices, okay, they cannot hurt us if we continue to pray about it. One, two, we should really just get away from them. But here we are. I'm on here too, y'all. I'm on here too. So when I say these things, some get offended over it. I'm on them too. I understand. Oh, it bothers me so bad. I understand the technology that our eyes are looking on, that what's inside of our body vibrates. And oh man, I learned some stuff, and we'll be reading it. Light and sound communicate between your cells. Inside your body, inside your cells, and between your cells, light and sound communicate. That's so awesome, right? So, what are we being hit with constantly? Light and sound, constantly, and they communicate between one another. Okay, so we read, we got an understanding. Our Father protects us, and these things can be of none effect to us. We got to pray for the right things. We can't just look into this stuff and not pray about it. Not pray about, please protect me from the light that is coming from the computer itself. Protect my eyes from this light. Protect my ears from sounds that I do not hear. I can't hear. I don't notice. Protect my ears. Excuse me. It's important to pray. Pray for a hedge of protection around you. How do you pray for a hedge of protection? You don't just say, please, Father, bless me with a hedge of protection. You talk about that hedge of protection. You talk about those walls, or that, because I don't like saying walls because it makes it seem like it's in a box, you make that hedge of protection with your words. shut the windows so that the sound cannot come in, whatever it may be, however the Lord leads you to do it. But pray the right. Okay, so we're speaking about music cult control. This article details events in musical history that are central to understanding and treating modern psychopathology, social aggression, political corruption, genetic dysfunction, and cross-cultural degeneration of traditional values risking life on Earth. This history concerns 440 standard tuning and the Rockefeller Foundation's military commercialization of music. The monopolization of the music industry features this imposed frequency that is herding populations into greater aggression, psychosocial agitation, emotional distress. That's what we see. Like, people can't handle being out in places, going to stores. They can't handle car horns being blown. They can't handle a dog barking. So greater aggression, agitation, psychosocial agitation, emotional distress. All three of those are all the things I named, the noises, sound around them. They can't handle it. Okay. Predisposing people to physical illnesses, financial impositions profiting the agents, agencies, and companies are engaged in the monopoly. And it is a huge. But it's not about money. Satan hates us, and not just that, but Jason recently, over and over, he has said this, that Satan hates the whole earth. It's not just us. He hates all creation. And I just heard it the other day. And so everything that's happening around, it's not just the profiting of money. It's not just, getting richer. And no. Satan, his fallen angels, the principalities and powers, the rulers of the darkness of this world, wickedness in high places, spiritual wickedness in high places, and their demons, the giants, the disembodied spirits of the giants are the demons. So we got their parents and the children. That is what we wrestle with, and they're trying to destroy Earth and everything in it. I mean, the sound for Earth has changed as well. They're trying to change it. They're trying to distort it as much as possible with all the spraying of the chemtrails, and attacking the electromagnetic grid lines. The ley lines that are all over the earth. They're throwing down, on trying to destroy the earth. And we are made from the dust of the earth. So what they're trying to do to the earth, as well as what they're trying to do to us, we're all being affected. And they ain't just hitting us with sound and light either. They're hitting us with all kinds of stuff. Now, this guy is down for some 444 hertz. I have not done any research in 444 hertz. So we might not even read that part just because of the I don't understand it, and I don't want to say something to y'all that might not be right. Please research it yourself. Actually, some of y'all might have a better understanding of it. Send me understanding of it. Articles that you found, videos. I do more articles. I don't really watch videos very often. I'll listen to something maybe while I'm studying, but it's very rare. I don't like my eyes being on this thing. So that's why I don't comment back much. Like, I don't This thing drives me nuts. I've been on this study for a week, and I'm ready to be done with this study. I'm ready to be off of the computer. Oh, before I forget, Jason, I'm gonna put a link in the description for Jason. He's having a live stream. Well, I'll be on there with him, I think. I believe this afternoon between like 12 and 4 or something like that. On his channel. I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description and might even put it in the chat whenever I get done doing all this. And I'll probably say this again, hopefully before we get off here. That way it's at the end of the video as well, in case somebody has missed and didn't hear. Okay. So this guy is saying that 444 is the good vibrations that the plant kingdom obviously broadcasts in its green yellowish display. I don't know. I don't know about that one. So we're not going to read that one. All right. Contrary to popular opinion, the most powerful hard science influencing society, politics, and economics is behavioral science. This generally neglected fact enables advertising agencies, social engineers, marketing firms, and the persuasive media to direct people like cattle most profitably. A flock of sheep, for example, according to the Merrick Veterinary Manual, responds synchronously to stimuli, such as approaching dogs or humans, due to a special set of nerve cells that fire electricity, causing the release of stress hormones associated with the flight response and herd behavior. Hardcore. Let's see, social examples of small levels. There have been many unexplained mass hysteria episodes recorded besides the War of the Worlds fright that was broadcast by CBS Radio and narrated by Orson Welles on October 30th of 1938. Robert E. Bartholomew called a related public health crisis occupational mass psychogenic illness and transcultural psychiatry. Now, I wanted y'all to see this. I'll just kind of there it is. Okay. So this mass psychogenic illness or mass hysteria is not a very rare phenomenon anymore. It is probably more common than the reported incidents and imposes a significant financial burden and unexpected magnetic difficulties for the emergency department. Affected schools or occupational sites are often closed for days or weeks, and there have been spread of illness and symptoms. There have been stories after stories of this mass hysteria, and it's quite interesting, because what I found was that in just about everything except for a some kind of sawmill, there were, anytime that this mass hysteria, dance mania, this freak out all together type thing happened, music was involved. They were at some kind of musical get together, an orchestra, concert, whatever, except for at this sawmill. That was very interesting, for sure. But some of these kings, the rulers, they understood about sound. and tones, and how to use tones to make ones do what they wanted, to control the folks. Oh, there it is. Dancing Mania. Actually, no, we want to go to the first one. I've got all these set up just right. Right. So we have this, what we just read, and what it is, the mass, what is it? Mass psychogenic, genic, psychogenic illness, mass psychogenic illness, mass, mass hysteria. Episodes, acute anxiety occurring mainly in school children. Mainly in school children. Why would school children be so attacked? Because in the schools, they do their little ding, their little bells, and they start everyone through their day with their bell first thing in the morning. And I believe that sets the day of the spell, puts them in a spell right away, for sure. And we have Dance Mania. Now, Dance Mania affected adults and children who danced until they collapsed. Exhaustion. One of the first outbreaks was in the Holy Roman Empire, modern-day Germany, in 1374, and it quickly spread throughout Europe. One outbreak occurred Strasbourg in 1518, also in the Holy Roman Empire, now France. Affecting thousands of people across several centuries, Dancing Mania was not an isolated event. Nevertheless, poorly understood, and remedies were based on guesswork. Often musicians accompanied dancers due to a belief that music would treat the mania. But this tactic sometimes backfired by encouraging more to join in. There is no consensus among modern-day scholars as to the cause of dance mania. Several theories purpose range from religious cults being behind the possessions to people dancing to reveal themselves of stress and put the poverty of the period out of their mind. It is speculated to have been a masked psychogenic illness in which physical symptoms with no non-physical cause are observed to affect a group of people as a form of social influence. Dancing mania derives from chromania, from the Greek chronos, dance, and mania, or choros, dance, and mania, madness. It's also known as the dancing plague. This was interesting that usually, and the condition was initially considered a curse sent by usually Saint John the Baptist or Saint Vitus, and was therefore known as Saint Vitus Dance or Saint John's Dance. And see, we got a Catholic priest, a saint, involved in this. There's definitely victims of dancing mania often ended their processions at places dedicated to that saint, who was prayed to in an effort to end the dancing. Incidents often broke out around the time of the feast of Saint Vitus. Interesting. Didn't read that the other day. They would break out a lot of the times. They would break out during the feast of Saint Vitus. Who this is Saint Vitus? Let's see. guy, you know, from Sicily, surviving the dates of his actual life known. Well, he didn't do any big things there, but he's got a chicken, which the Jews, during their Passover, they sacrifice chickens over people's heads and stuff. And he's got the sun crest over his. That's the sun worship for sure. Let's see. He's got a book in his hands turned sideways. That means something. I just don't know what it does. Either way, not really sure. But we've got a good look at him. There we go. A disease. What is this? St. Vincent's dance was diagnosed in the 17th century as Sydenham Corey. Dancing mania has also been known as epidemic chora and epidemic dancing, a disease of the nervous system. Chora is characterized by symptoms resembling those of dancing mania, which has also rather unconvincingly been considered a form of epilepsy. Right, because they're demonically possessed. Epilepsy is possession. Like it's demons. Like our Father, He rebuked these. Jesus, Yeshua, Yahusha, our Holy Creator. He rebuked these demons that were working through these folks, and so they're saying right here they were possessed by demons, but we have these scientific names, these magic names, these it's ridiculous. Okay, let's see. I just wanted to show on this. Dance mania appears to have completely died out by the mid 17th century. All right. Outbreak of dance mania varied, and several characteristics have been recorded, generally occurring in times of hardship. Tens of thousands of people would appear to dance for hours, days, weeks, and even months. All right, let's see. I was trying to get to today. Well, really, the year of now. Oh, right. And then we've got the Piper, the actions as a real cause of dancing mania was unknown. Many of the treatments were simply hopeful guesses, although some did seem effective. 1374 outbreak occurred only decades after the Black Death and was treated in a similar fashion. Dancers were isolated and some were exorcised. People believed that the dancing was a curse brought by St. Vitus, responded by praying. Okay, we read that. Prayers were also made to St. John the Baptist, who some believed also caused the dancing. Others claimed to be possessed by demons. Boom, that was it. Or Satan, therefore, exorcisms were often performed on dancers. Why were they possessed by demons? Do you know why they were possessed by demons? Because they had the sound of demons coming to them. These spells of these demons were coming to them in their ears, all around them. They're just hanging out. They're having a good little time, gathering, a party. Some king had an understanding of sound and how to dominate the mind with some sound, and they were experiments. Oh, come on now. On delay. Work with me here. So, we have a better understanding now of some sound mania. What's going on with sound mania? Dance mania, excuse me. All right. Let's read on that. Boom. Okay. Assuming the field of physics, including biophysics, is valid, and the universe, including life, is primordially constructed energetically, mathematically, harmonically, musically. Energy, including bioenergy or spirituality as a medium of consciousness, impacts us physically very powerfully and is meditated vibrationally, really hydrosonically through sound effects on water. Dude, that's a lot of leaves. Water, nearly 8% of human body weight, is a liquid crystal superconductor. What? That's awesome. But it's for sure. Look at all these Tartarian buildings and how they laid their land out, and it's all around water. Okay, structured water science. Structured water science, as well as the field of electrogenetics, proves this thesis adequately. Given light photons and sound phonons have been shown to signal communications within and between cells via liquid crystal protoglycan matrix in cells and tissues. This strongly evidences the theory of hydrosonic creationism involving DNA and structured water. Thus, biocreation and health restoration may have more to do with frequencies of sound energy or music than has been thought. There are a lot of people who consider modern music annoying, may become emotionally disturbed listening to certain types of music. What few people realize, regardless of the type of music played in the Western world, the standard Anglo-American tuning for instruments and voices was in instituted at the same time by the same agents and agencies advancing acoustic war studies for inducing mass hysteria. We're in the biggest MK Ultra mind control project you could ever imagine in your life. Oh my goodness. Good morning, my lovely little friends. I just had to pop over here and check on y'all and see what's going on. I love you, Tracy Shaw. You're amazing. Thank you for this thing. Thank you. Good morning, Parkway. Dude, I love you, bro. I know you are. You're just hanging out in the woods. I just know it. Good morning. God loves us, so praise him. Yes, praise him. Keep talking about how people are similar to animals. They are. Oh, wait a minute. To animals. I've done videos talking about my experience training animals. Yet, how I realized about addiction was through watching Butter, my dog. Watching him and his obsession with his ball. He lives in any other command in the world, but he would not drop that ball. And still, we have issues with that. Okay, let's get back to this, and then we'll come back. Man, I'm good to see Tracy Shaw and Parkway. Boom. Two of the best people that could ever be on. Still got to figure out how to operate this thing. Okay, boom. All right. So, analyze antecedents. Analyzing the antecedents of current geopolitics and economics, the dirty fact of musical history may be foundational to the status quo and instrumental to contemporary social cultural crises, including modern pandemic psychopathology. Now look, I love y'all, and I know that y'all love me, or you wouldn't put up with my reading butt here. So I love you so much, and I appreciate you. I try to put in big words in my speech through the day. Somewhere just throw in a big word. Because man, I have no schooling growing up, and so now I'm the Lord's teaching me, and some of these words. Whew, if I got to sound them out just like a 5-year-old in kindergarten, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sound that thing out. So I'm glad y'all love me. Throughout history, there have been persons of wealth and power engaging in war making, profiteering, and various methods of population control. In 1770, for instance, Mayor Amskul Baur, aka Rothschild, developed plans for the creation of the Illuminati, advancing in the mission of global domination through a network of central banks that his family and their silent partners controlled. Many reputable authors track today's degenerative psychoeconomic trends and uh, Aboriginal genocides to the Illuminati's powerful influence administered through private organizations controlling multinational national corporations and governments, secret societies, governing councils such as the Council of Foreign Relations. We know they all work together. We know this today, these days. We know they all work together. It's a fact, Jack. All the nations. As a result of this influence, wrote Thomas Schaffer in a controversial review article and commentary urging the termination of the un-American Federal Reserve Bank and the offshore bankers' control over the U.S. Treasury. The arc of Western civilization has gone from assent, believe in God, focused on the higher centers of love, joy, purity, and selflessness, to descent, focused on the lower centers of consciousness, like those of power, wealth, and physical gratification. This is what we see. Like, everybody wants to be wealthy. We want to have a lot of money. We want to be rich. You know, we want to exceed, but for what? It's stuff, and this stuff is it's gonna go away. You know, like, none of this stuff on earth matters. None of it. None of these things, and that's what everybody's working for, to get money so that they can buy more things and be in debt and physical gratification. Right. That's what it is, physical gratification. The apex was called the Enlightenment when the illuminated ones, a Luciferian term meaning keepers of the light, took over for God. Typical of Satan, decline into moral darkness is represented as light. Boom. Right. Light and sound is generated and measured mathematically according to frequencies. It stands to reason then, following Schaff's empirical evidenced thesis, we are engaged in a conspiracy reality in which ultimate power and control is waged energetically, biospiritually, through frequency modulations or electromagnetic manipulations affecting consciousness and impacting biology, physiology, and human behavior. The Lord says you cannot worship me or the Lord says worship me in spirit and not in body, not in flesh. Not in flesh, in spirit. So many are, even ones that know and believe, they're not worshiping in spirit. And so they're able to be attacked like so much easier because the spiritual is so important, and we're being attacked like physically and spiritually. And it's a lot of spiritual that's going on. Our great grandparents, having all this technology come in. That's when it started. That's when, boy, son, all these new technologies, even electricity. I had a friend tell me a story the other day. She remembers one that didn't want the light bulb. He didn't want the electricity coming in through his house. She was like 6, and she's 70 now, 60, 70. And she was 6 then. And she remembers her neighbor, saying that he didn't want electricity. He didn't want electricity brought in his house. Dude, today, that's absurd. What do you mean? What do you mean you live without electricity? What do you mean you don't have electricity in your home? That's absurd. But back then it wasn't. And how much better off were they? Really? Electricity makes a sound. I hear the sound of the light bulbs when I turn them on. So the attacking spiritual is happening because no one's worshiping in no, okay, I won't say no one because it's an absolute, but ones are not worshiping in spirit. They're trying to worship in the flesh, and then they have all this fleshly stuff around them. They're totally consumed, by stuff, and all the while they're getting hit with electromagnetic waves, manipulations, affecting them, affecting their conscience, impacting biology, physiology, and human behavior. And if everyone's, man, we see how people are acting nowadays. We see what's going on. I mean, I know y'all notice it too. You go into the grocery stores, dollar store, wherever you go, even just driving down the road or traveling in your automobile, even just traveling in your automobile, you see beside you ones, and you can see they're disturbed. They're disturbed. And that was even before the coronavirus. But now it just put it up a notch. Rockefeller Foundation and Military Music in 1913. Okay. In 1913, the Rothschilds set up their third and current central bank in America, the Federal Reserve Bank, with the help of their agents, J.P. Morgan and J.D. Rockefeller, whose investments in American industry had been Rothschild financed since 1865. 1913. Now, I thought this was so, because when you start looking at this stuff, okay, 1913, okay, now, quantum mechanics, computers, here we are, we're with computers. 1889, I'm sorry, where is it? Where is he at? Oh, 1887. Photoelectric effect shown by Einstein in 1905. Okay. Demonstrated Hertz, for the sound Hertz, demonstrates experimentally that electromagnetic waves exist as predicted by Maxwell. Okay. So he finds the electromagnetic waves, realizes they exist. Let's see. Go down here. I know that he is. It was 89. Dude. Okay. 88. Interesting. All right. Well, we got 87 and 88. We've got the sound waves, alpha, beta, gamma, theta, that were found. Then we've got down here in 19. Now, there is no 1910. Now, look, just about every year they have found something. And then you've got between 1909 and 1916, Einstein shows Planck's law of the black body radiation is accepted. The energy quanta must also carry monumentum P equals H, blah, 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 making them full-fledged particles. Okay, so Einstein finds this pillar of quantum computing around the same time that we have the Rothschilds coming over here and establishing their first bank in the United States. Published as a result, oil drop experiment precisely determines the electric charge of the electron. Determination of fundamental unit of electric charge makes it possible to calculate the Avogadro constant, which is the number of atoms or molecules in 1 mole of any substance, and therefore thereby is to determine the atomic weight of the atoms of each element. So this guy, 1913, he discovers what we just read. Magnetic dipole moment, obtains theoretical the value of electrons' magnetic. There was a few things that happened in 1913. Positively charged nucleus at certain fixed quantum distances in each of these spherical orbits has a specific energy associated with it, such that electron movements between orbits requires quantum immersions or absorptions of energy. All right, so we have this man, these men, the Rothschilds. Why does it keep going to that? And so around the same time that they've got this, now remember, they're the ones that pay for they're the ones that pay for the funding for these scientists. The Rothschilds, Rockefellers, they're the ones that pay for the funding of this. And they were the ones paying for the funding of Einstein, Heinrich Hertz, or Hertz, the other guy, two guys that we just read about. They paid for the funding of these guys. And around the same time that they're getting these banks put up to control the masses, they're also learning research. They're studying in sound, quantum computing, electromagnetic waves, and they're finding all this stuff. And then we have the Princeton radio broadcasting that was in the 30. Oh, we'll read about that in a minute. So we have these it's like right in front of our face. They were gathering all of the information, because look, 1770 is when the Rothschilds developed plans for the creation of the Illuminati, global domination through a network of central banks, right? 1770. And then in 100 years later, they find the pillar for quantum computing, the electromagnetic waves that they knew were there, the alpha, beta, gamma, theta, right, delta, and then over time, now as today, we have a delta wave, the delta variant. It all lines up. It matches. Really does. All right. And if some of y'all have been on here, you have went through my videos, you have seen what the stuff that I'm speaking about. Oh, right, finance, American industry have been Rothschild finance since 1865. It's like this year, the 1850s and up, was a huge deal for the Rothschilds when they found that the Hertz, when Heinrich Hertz found the pillar for quantum computing, the sound waves. That was it for them, and they had an understanding on how to control folks. There was a king that has his glockenspiel go off in his Munich, Germany, every 7 years. Why? To remind the people of a virus that hit them in like the 1500s. Every 7 years. The huge glockenspiel, these little guys dance. That's mind control. This guy was also the one that got the first orchestra it might even be the same time that it's 1500s. He's the one that changed the 440 hertz for the sound waves. I mean, for his orchestra. I thought I had that in there. Dude, I swear. Oh, he started the orchestra. He started the orchestra. Okay. That's what it was. He started it. I went through so much, dude. So much. Because it's just like so big. I ain't even got half the juicy stuff. Like seriously. But that's normally how it goes with anything. Okay, where we at? Down here. Boom. World War I and II evidence that banking cartels profitable depopulation, politics, and policies. For instance, in 1914, at the beginning of World War I, German Rothschild Bank loaned money to the German government. The British Rothschild Bank loaned money to Britain. The French Rothschild Bank loaned money to the French government. They all work together. They're dude. The German Rothschild Bank loaned money to the German government. See, it doesn't. The British Rothschild Bank loaned money to the British government. The French Rothschild Bank loaned money to the French government. So, like, they're all being paid by the same person. War propaganda served the Rothschilds' geopolitical and financial agendas and was provided by the three main European new agencies: Wolf in Germany, Reuters in England, and Havas in France. They seem to be everywhere, each financed by Rothschild banks. But you don't hear them unless you read. Unless you read places, you don't hear about France. They don't really get talked about much. But you start reading, by golly, they're everywhere. France is everywhere. A little bitty place. Between World Wars I and II, accelerating during the 30s, scientific studies in musical frequencies best suited for war making were funded by the Rothschild-Rockefeller Alliance, represented by the Rockefeller Foundation and U.S. Navy. A major objective of this war and profitable population control research was to determine the musical factors capable of producing psychopathological emotional distress and mass hysteria. Academically directed by grants provided by the Rockefeller Foundation in concert with the U.S. Navy and National Defense Research Council. According to the Foundation's archives, acoustic energy researchers including Harold Buis Meyer, an audio engineer and drama instructor of New Jersey's Stevens Institute of Technology, were commissioned. Boris Meyer is best known for providing consulting services to Muzak Corporation, which used his expertise to optimize sound installations in factories so the emotional motivation of workers achieved through music would not be adversely affected by factory noise. Music in the factories. Keep the people in that mind control, that blankness. Stay focused on what you're doing. Don't talk. Have you ever worked in a factory? You're not really supposed to talk to the one beside you while you're working. I think that's ridiculous. Why can't we talk while we're sitting here beside each other all day long? What? You're gonna make me feel like I'm in school? Oh, don't talk to the one next to you. Don't put your hand on their desk. Don't be looking at their stuff. Don't get... Dude, it's mind control. Everywhere you go, there is music. Everywhere. Everywhere. I'm not Like exaggerating, that is not an absolute. That is a fact check everywhere you go. Additionally, the Princeton Radio Project played a role in this research. This occurred precisely at the time the atomic bomb Manhattan Project was beginning at Princeton, involving Albert Einstein at the Institute for Advanced Study. And come to find out, well, wait a minute, let's read down. Linking this conspiracy reality to the development of music for mass hysteria and adverse public health impacts, the IAS think tank was formed from the vision of founding director Abraham Flexner. According to the IAS website, the infamous Abraham Flexner, educated in Germany and America, on staff at the Carnegie Foundation and funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, sourced the American medical reformation following U.S. congressional acceptance of his Flexner report. This infamous treatise exclusively benefited the Anglo-American G. Fardin Rockefeller Petrochemical Pharmaceutical Alliance that vilified every form of natural healing to monopolize health care. Based on Flexner's report advancing the Rockefellers' agenda, the U.S. government exclusively imposed medicine's reliance on deadly non-curative drugs as an ongoing today. The Rockefeller Foundation's assistant director for the humanities of time, Flexner complied. His report was John Marshall, who, along with the authors of Composing for the Films, Oxford University Press, 1947, Hans Eisler, and Theodore Adorno were featured performers in the musical projects serving military and commercial entreaties, juxtaposed with artistic and philanthropic objectives. As this research and development of the broadcasting industry advanced to impact her behavior and public health, it is clear that any madly generated musical vibrationally, bioenergetically would increase investors profitably. Jeez Louise, all these leads. And it's the names. If you didn't have to, all their names, their credits, their names, geez. Eisler opposed the militarization of music used for cultural manipulation and was eventually deported following years of harassment by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We don't know that for sure. Can convicted that. Audio control on, okay, according to Tobias, Burrismeyer became convinced that audio control of human emotions was possible for a large enough portion of an audience to provide effective crowd control, a line of research that John Marshall ultimately found irrelevant for understanding the artistic or cultural values of music, but obviously fulfilled a military objective. This best explains why this activity is linked in time, subject matter, foundation funding, and the Rothschild Rockefeller increasing more investments in Germany, Great Britain, and the U.S. to establishing the Western world's standard musical tuning of 440 hertz frequency. The fact that 440 hertz standard tuning is relatively distressing and adequately evidenced below and elsewhere implicates these parties and their research into averse musical frequencies for military and commercial uses. I wasn't sure how far we would go down on this one, however, simple internet search. There was some things in here that I did want to show. Average tolerance Foundation funded investigations and extended to average tolerance of sound effects of different intensities and of different frequencies, or the effectiveness of sound in relation to different noise levels. The clear interest here seems to be the dramatic used emphasis in bringing audiences with the use of the sensory appeal of sound effects to states of mass hysteria. These revelations best account for the mass hysteria demonstrated by the audiences responding to rock and rollers, initially Elvis Presley, followed by the British invaders. It's all of them, okay? Any of them that have got a record label, that have gotten up there in the big times, it's all of them. They're all involved in this. All of them. All your favorite bands, they're involved. It is meant to put you in a mass hysteria, a mind control state. It was recently revealed that the Beatles were barred from performing in Israel following an investigation that promoted the education ministry to conclude the Beatles' performances caused hysteria and mass disorder. There's no musical or artistic experience here, but a sensual display that arouses feelings of aggression replete with sexual stimuli. And that's too that too. Everywhere you turn, it's everybody's got their mind. No, absolute. Most folks have their mind in the gutter. They're speaking about sex. They're thinking about it constantly. It's no big deal. We can talk about that now. And the aggression. Oh, the sex talk. I mean, it's everywhere. And it's because we've been programmed with music and television. We've been programmed. In 1938, the British American radio and television cartel was funded and administered by the Rockefeller Foundation, also funding Jewish hate and administering Nazi eugenics. Because divide. We hate everyone and we need to kill everybody because America's great and Americans are the best. That's a lie. That's a lie from the pit of hell. This Anglo-American media connection was evidenced by Michael Helms, right? I love you, Ringo. No. And I used to be that way. Oh my goodness. I used to be this mind controlled. I used to have these tendencies. I had a poster of Jonathan Taylor Thomas on my wall, and I would write him little love letters on the poster through the day or through the week, once in the mornings before I go to school. I'd write him little love letters. I'd kiss his poster. Dude, I'm sure all of us have done something along those lines. It's the same thing with what this little girl's doing right here. I love you, Ringo. Reaching out, mass hysteria, flipping out, aggression. On August 31st, 1957, hysterical crowds trampled people, including Canadian reporter John Kirkwood, who wrote, "It was like watching a demented army swarm down the hillside to do battle in the plain. When those frenzied teenagers stormed the field, Elvis and his music played a small part in the dizzy circus." And I think that recently with the Travis Scott thing that I was hearing one say that before the concert even got started, people were like knocking folks down trying to get through the gate. So I'm not really sure. I only heard that once, so don't hold me to it. Nope. I gotta get a drink. By the savage jungle beat music. Hardcore of teenager troublemakers turned Elvis Presley's one-night stand at the Emperor Stadium into the most disgusting exhibition of mass hysteria and lunacy this city has ever witnessed. Turns out Tom Parker Elvis's manager was a suspect for illegally joining the U.S. Army as a European immigrant. He broke his co-management contract with Hank Snow for exclusive control over Elvis's career, developed Presley's contact with RCA, discussed below, and worked under the alias of calling Tom Parker, a name that he secretly stole from his Army base commander, Captain Tom Parker. His real name was Andreas Cornelius. Thus, the Empire Stadium riot, pleasing to Parker, was most likely a successful U.S. military RCA experiment to induce mass hysteria, especially since RCA, according to Tobias, was a major participant in the Rockefeller Foundation-funded research to musically produce this precise audience impact. Boom. Boom. And that's Elvis, y'all. And I know, some of y'all love some Elvis. And we already knew, Elvis said that he was a prophet. And the ones that followed him around were his disciples. And that's a fact, Jack. Very interesting stuff there. Stuff that, because they did seances and magic shows and, sacrifices and stuff. Jeez Louise, these people, they're ran by it. The sacrifices and the rituals that they do is putting us in this state of mind, or putting the people in this state of mind. But what they're not realizing is the Word of God says they're going to be caught in their own net. So all the stuff that they do to us with this mind control, how have they just blinded all folks around? They're going to be caught in their own net, their own delusion, what they have made up for us to catch us with. They're going to be caught in their own mind control. They're completely controlled in their mind. The ones that know what they're doing with the rituals and the sacrifices, they're completely controlled in their mind, just in a different way, an evil way. During World War I, U.S. Navy suppressed patents owned by the major companies involved with radio manufacture, and the U.S. facilitated the Brits' war effort. All production of radio equipment at that time was allocated for the Army and Navy. The Navy sought to maintain a Rockefeller-administered military government monopoly over the radio industry, featuring advanced and wireless radio. This wartime command over radio never ended, as some believe. Due to the suspicious congressional indecision the Rockefeller leadership forced regarding the maintenance of the supposed governmental control over radio in 1918. It's like as soon as they found those radio waves, those sound waves, 20 years later, boom, 30 years later, boom, they just hit, like they knew how to use sound against folks to keep them in this mass hysteria. April 8th, 1919, U.S. Navy officials met with General Electric Company executives to develop an American-owned radio company so that the Navy could continue operating as a front, exercising its control over the commercial radio monopoly. The resulting purchase of American Marconi by GE satisfied this command and birthed the Radio Corporation of America. The incestuous commercial military cartel that formed included RCA, General Electric, United Fruit, Westinghouse Electric Corporation, and AT&T, which recently, the AT&T building that blew up in Nashville, apparently ones the very next day were rushing to Verizon and Cricket and all the other stores of cell phone service and changing their service. Why? Because AT&T got knocked off for a day, and they couldn't handle being without their internet, their phone, their Facebook, their YouTube, their whatever. They couldn't handle being without it. So they had to hurry up and go change it. I think it was a getting in the way from the AT&T way, and now we are moving into a different state. Oh, because come to find out, the AT&T in Nashville was like one of the biggest AT&T providers, like companies that link the main company to them. I have to get them research on that one. So much. I don't want to stay on this too long. See, they say that October 6th, 1938, the year before 440 standard tuning was adopted. That's not true because John Calhoun Deegan is the one who introduced it. And at the same time, the 1910, 1913. That was another one. That was another connection of the 1910. You've got, the Hertz that was being found. You've got Einstein that found some stuff in 1910. You have John Calhoun Deegan who presented the changing of the sound hertz for the world to 440 hertz in 1910. Right, 1913 they took it on. They said, "All right, this is happening." So I think that there was something else happened here with the 440 hertz. I believe that there was musical instruments around this time here that they were sending out from. They had made a bunch of musical instruments in factories and tuned them to the 440 hertz, and that's what they were selling to the people. I did read about that, and might even have it in my little note thing. Occasion of the military. This project was the Rockefeller Foundation project. Of course, mass media develop. Okay. Thus, Tobias wrote, this project was a typical Rockefeller Foundation project in that the goals were partially speculative, but grounded always in establishing institutional networks that might ultimately grow into much larger, actually feasible mass media development projects, serving commercial interests but having educational or dramatic uses. Military or non-commercial social research was an important way in building not yet commercial mass media systems and applications. This research was eventually applied in the development of modern methods of public persuasion and cultural indoctrination by television and radio networks currently considered the mainstream media. It must be emphasized that by 1961, according to a series of Rockefeller Brothers Fund reports concerned with the search for America's national purpose, that we the people would be governed by the assertion that a prudent corporate and military leadership of the national security state could link guns, butter, and the new technology of missile and nuclear weapons production to the cause of freedom and the free world. What? That ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. Nothing. He says, the Lord says, I have made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions, new technology of missiles and nuclear weapons, and production to the cause of freedom and the free world. What? That's not freedom. That's not the free world. That sounds like a whole lot of mess to me. Whole lot of mess. Oh, goodness. There's so much here. Okay, I don't want to stay on this. I love reading. What is this? Introduction of electronic sound for stage, screen, and television did not proceed fluidly. In 1910, motivated by grants, funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, American Federation of Musicians. The initial efforts to institute 440 standard tuning had limited success in America. In Europe, the initial effort had no zero impact. Additional promotions were needed to secure the music world's acceptance of 440 that was perceived as less pleasant or dull when compared with other frequencies described below. Ironically, and most revealing about the Anglo-American cartel arrangement to persuade European musicians to accept this tuning and the British Standards Institute adoption of it in 1939. Rockefeller Rothschild Black Op officials employed Nazi Party propagandist Joseph Goebbels. At that time, Goebbels was advancing to become England's greatest media nemesis. Lynn Cavendish reviewed the history of standard musical tuning and determined that, contrary to propaganda and current consensus, it was 1939, not 1938, as the true year the British Standard Institute adopted the 440. Okay, so 1910 is when it was established here in America, and finally in the 30s, almost 40 actually, that's when British, but that was totally meant to, because we are Britain. Like, at the time England was about to declare war with Germany, so surely, and remember up at the top, we've seen that the Rockefellers funded all the wars. Like, it was all it's all propaganda, all bringing the people against one another as they use their devices to control the minds. Rockefeller's alliance with I.G. Farden, the Standard Oil Company's fueling of Hitler's military buildup against Poland, the funding of Hitler by the Rothschild Rockefeller Warburg family bankers backing I.G. Farden, and the Nazis as partners in their emerging genocide. Oh. In other words, the 440 hertz frequency was instituted at the precise time World War II preparations were being finalized by the petrochemical pharmaceutical war financiers. And boom, Hitler's Germany invaded Poland, officially starting World War II on September 1st, 1939. 3 months earlier, following widespread reaction of that 440 hertz frequency vibration by musicians worldwide, Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels argued on behalf of this apparently very important intrusion into musical artistry, effectively persuading Hitler's supposed enemies in Britain to adopt this alleged superior standard tuning for the master race. After the war, the Rockefeller Standard Oil Company was indicted by a U.S. federal court as an enemy national, that is, an American traitor. It didn't stop him, though. He's still around. He was still around. Doesn't matter. It didn't stop him. Because even this, saying that he was indicated by the U.S. federal court. No, I do not believe so. They were all working together. There was no, they're all Freemasons. These men's names, if we try real hard, it's hard to find research on ones, if they're Freemasons or not. But, yeah. Some things I wonder of how we can find out if they were Freemasons or not. I wonder if you went to the town that they lived in. It says that they were born in this town, or this is the town that they died in. And I wonder if you could find the database for the Freemasons, of that town, their database, and show you names of the history of who all's been there and done this and that. Either way, this is so much. And my goodness. Was there anything else in this? Okay. No. We're going to move on. see what's going on here. Disciple of the Messiah. Good morning, my little friend. Face of the earth. Well, I've never seen you before, but hey, how you doing, my friend? Jason loves fluorescent light as well. He don't do well with light on me. Because I'm half blind on anything. Face of the earth, listening and learning. Well, good for you, my little friend. Unplugged the scrying mirror 4.5 years back. Right, we don't have a big television either. I love you, Marie. You're so beautiful. Well, okay. As long as everybody's on track and we've said hey to my little friend, it's so nice to see y'all. Now, what in the world is happening? Okay. Boom. That's out of here. Like, we can finally erase some of this stuff off of here. Yes. I'm like 60-something pages. We never gonna get through 60-something pages. What was this? Let me see. Princeton, New Jersey from Roosevelt. Oh, I was going to show y'all that one of the guys that from the article that we were reading about, who was a scientist, Flexner, he was over Einstein. And let's see, recounts his episode on a slender volume that read in the right governmental place. Reprints Flexner's 1939 essay in Harper's Magazine, The Usefulness of Useless Knowledge. Graf notes that the April 1939 opening of the World's Fair in New York, Einstein was honorary chair of the fair's science advisory. Okay. Science Advisory Committee. Okay. Featured such marvels as an automatic dishwasher, an air conditioner, and a fax machine. They're already doing the fax machines, the texting. That's interesting. I didn't recognize that a minute ago. There was no electronic computers or nuclear energy. Animation of electronic computers or nuclear energy for months. 4 months later, Einstein urgently wrote to Roosevelt about the element uranium being turned into a new and important source of energy, including bombs, which might explain why Germany has stopped the sale of uranium from whatever mines. Flexner's theme says, Dej Gaffarov was particularly, it's so hot in here, unobstructed curiosity that sails against the current of practical considerations. The 1953 discovery of the structure of DNA, which led to the 1970 arrival of recombinant DNA technology and to today's biotech industry and pharmaceuticology, was the result of scientific curiosity without any thought of immediate applications. That's interesting. Led to the 1970 arrival of, interesting. Very interesting. Because 1970 is when, either way. Now, this said something about, it's at the top. In 1933, America's most famous immigrant settled in Princeton, New Jersey. Franklin Roosevelt tried to invite Albert Einstein to the White House. Abraham Flexner, the founding director of the Institute for Advanced Study that had brought Einstein to Princeton, interceded FDR's letter before the intended recipient saw it. So what I wanted to show you is this Flexner, who had a huge part to do in MK Ultra, mind control, deception. Why do we keep going to the Glockenspiel? did. Okay. Boom. Now, I have the MK Ultra project pulled up on Wikipedia, and it's just so that, you know, was there something that I was going to show y'all in this? Because really, the other stuff we have is really way better than Wikipedia. Yeah, we're just gonna. Thought there was something in here though. Okay, Mom, you're gone. Done. No more of that. Maybe I'm too quick for the computer. Why? Patience. What happened? Oh, you. Patience. Erase that. Don't. Dude. So these cats right here. All right. Now, I've looked for these guys. I've looked for them on YouTube. I've looked for them on Facebook. No, I'm sorry. I've looked for them on Facebook, and on Google, but I have not looked for them on YouTube. Excuse me. But the thing is these cats, they say they were kidnapped. They met as MK Ultra slaves. They'd been kidnapped and brought to Cookeville, Tennessee. Now, look, I knew some crazy, strange stuff happened in Tennessee. I've had friends tell me that they've experienced very odd things here in Tennessee, and I myself have found things that show me that there is major occultism that goes on here, and it would make sense. There's a lot of hills to be hiding in, so that you can do all kinds of things and sinkholes and stuff. But so these two met as MK Ultra slaves. They were grown up in this. They were raised in this. Both of them were. And y'all can go through and read that. But this is the one that really caught my attention, that I really wanted to just say. Okay. This one right here. Tabitha of Nashville was killed by cannibals. Tabitha was found in 2003 by members of a cannibal cult and died on day 6 of her being tortured in front of us in a cave by the cannibals. The cannibals had her captive one day prior to bringing her to the cave. Tabitha's meat tasted bad to them because she was not afraid. She did not produce adrenochrome, and her meat tasted sour to them. Tabitha sang hymns and quoted the Bible with us as they cut her. Her meat tasted so bad they would throw it in the fire. Look for, oh, okay. That's horrible. That is horrible. And I'm, that is something that you don't want to happen to anybody. But the thing is these things do happen. And it is producing adrenochrome. Adrenochrome does come from fear. And oh my goodness, everyone around is scared. Like, the people have so much fear of what's happening. They won't go into stores. They won't touch anything. They wear gloves. They wear masks. They will stay 6 feet apart. They're terrified. Man, these cannibalists can eat them up in 2.5 seconds, which I believe that their fear even feeds the technology. I do. But that's another, either way. So this woman, she had no fear. She's singing hymns, praising the Lord, her King, her Creator, praising Him during this time of absolute torture. And it tasted bad to them. It was horrible to them. Good. Praise Yeshua. Hallelujah. I hope it was horrible to them. And I hope that keeps them from wanting to do it to others, It doesn't. It doesn't. They just continue. But I really feel like when this happened, these two that met as slaves, they were in the room as this was happening to her, or in a cave as this was happening to her. And it they say in their story that they were also tortured, and they tried to get them to denounce the Lord, to turn away from him, to curse at him, and they wouldn't do it. They won't do it. Uh, and I believe that's probably why they're still alive, because their body would taste sour to them. Wouldn't doubt it. 100% wouldn't doubt it. So thought y'all look into that, and I'm still doing much because that's very interesting to me. Finding stories about Tennessee, I knew, I just knew there's too much going on here. This is actually mentioned. I wanted to show y'all how this was just because what I'm reading in this is it's people that live the girl, she lived in an apartment across the street from the restaurant that she worked in. Her and the man worked in a restaurant in Cookeville, Tennessee, and they worked every day. Were being tortured at night, but they worked through the day. And while they were and they lived in town. They lived in an apartment in town, right across the street. I mean, Cookeville's a little town. It's not the biggest place ever. Right in town. And so everybody's eyes could see them, that knew what was going on. They could see and always have eyes on them of what they're doing, that they can't just run. They can't just escape. But I was going to show you the building of one of them. They brought up in here. Cornerstone of Recovery in Louisville, Tennessee. I wanted to show y'all. And it says that during Ken Cole's child custody case, perform memory wipes on both Ken and Nicole to destroy their neurotransmitters. Cornerstone. The same place they're talking. You see that place? Easy. Simple. Nice. Nice looking place. Nice looking place. You can go in there, buy your little gifts, gift store. There's your Cornerstone gift store. I didn't even look at the layout there. I'm sure that's probably a symbol, some wickedness. Around some water. Got water. Gotta have that. Gotta have the mind control station for the electromagnetic waves. Looks so nice. Looks beautiful. Perfect place to stay. Everything that you need. Everything you need. Just lovely land. Look, do you need help? I'll help you. I'll help ruin your brain. I will torture you. Yeah. Oh, just bless it. Bless them. So, right. That's one of the places they're talking about. Look at the symbol. My goodness. Evo. It's just for real. And that, man, that's probably right in town. Ain't no telling. Even if it ain't right in town, it looks like a nice place anybody would take their children to help them recover from anything. Don't take your children to no recovery. Don't go to recovering places that they say help you. Satanic ritual abuse. Now, really what I wanted to do was go down here, mental health, law enforcement professionals working. Okay, I wanted to just show the levels of brainwashing and mind control. So as I'm reading it off, that you can actually hear for yourself and see. What we're reading is what's happening, how people are acting. Like it's so for real. Terrified submission, outward compliance, but one's own beliefs and identity are preserved. Okay, levels of brainwashing and mind control from least to most complex and binding, and often used in combination, especially in ritual abuse. So we got the terrified submission. Willful compliance. A disturbed or abused child, adolescent, adult is provided with objects, drugs, affection, sex, freedom, etc., and chooses the abuser over his or her cultural current life situation. Chooses the abuser. Okay? In our behalf, who would the abuser be? The abuser would be the media, the social media, the television, the mind control programmers. That would be our abusers. And what do we continue to do? Well, I really like that song. I'm going to go to it. Oh, I just love that chocolate, but I know that it's got, or I just love that boxed macaroni and cheese with powdered cheese, but and I know it's got stuff in it that's going to be bad for my body. That it's going to help these wicked ones, but I'm going to continue to do it because I'm just going to keep on going back to my abuser. I'm going to keep on going back to the abuser. This is what we're used to. This is what we've been told, programmed to believe that we like. And drugs, I'm just going to continue to go back to my drugs. Affection, sex, freedom, geez Louise, it's all Stockholm Syndrome, terror. Abuser harms victims or threatens victim and his or her family with violence. A lot of children nowadays have this Stockholm Syndrome. And that's a fact, Jack. Do you know why? Because they play video games over and over and over, and they're constantly killing one another, hurting someone, binding them, putting them in prisons, blowing something up. Why? They're terror. They're harmers. They've got violence. Isolation from prior support. What do video games do? They isolate you where you don't have anybody around. It's just you and the game. Come to find out, recently I found out that Atlas at CERN is what makes the video game music. Dun, dun, dun. Here we are again with the freaking mind control. Nothing is made for entertainment, y'all. The word entertainment means craft. Boom. If that alone doesn't stop us, but even I myself, her support, often combined with lies of family abandonment, led to dependence on abuser and perceived loyalty to abuser. Lies of abandonment. He has just begun. Now, 32-year-old prison escapee. Indeed continued for some 131 hours. Okay. Religious indoctrination. Psychologically weak or dependent person submits to a charismatic leader who claims to be spiritually connected to some kind of God, professing to be chosen for a spiritual agenda, promises salvation to devotees and eternal damnation promised to non-followers. What is the New Age movement? Do what thou wilt. That I am God. I am God. Leader claims to be spiritually connected to some kind of God, professing to be chosen for a spiritual and so saying that you are God, you're lying to yourself. And then all these lies that you're believing, because who is your abuser? The television, the radios, the sound. This is who your abuser. This is whoever, because this is the biggest MK Ultra project you could ever imagine in your life. Right? Your abuser is not in front of you. It's not a physical person that you're seeing that's slashing on you and making you bleed and stuff. It literally is the abuse coming from the machines. They ain't got to go nowhere. The high-ups or your abuser is sitting in a chair and he's able to watch the ridiculousness, the mind control, the mass hysteria that is happening, the I am God complex. When it's all lies. It's all lies. Brainwashing through social influence. An individual is placed only among successful converters to the abuser or cult who professes the belief system of the group, while the person is isolated from family and previous support systems and activities. Brainwashed through social influence. And the woman talking about, I just wonder how many, restaurants. Is there one here in my town that has, that is MK Ultra mind control project people? And I just, we don't know it, and we go in there and eat, and we contribute, you know? Like, you just really don't, you don't know, but your Father will lead you to it if it's meant to be. Brainwashing through deprivation of basic needs, sleep, food, water, combined with chanting, social isolation. I think that if we leave our phones beside our brains, our heads at night, that chanting is being put into our brains. I really believe that. Self-view is a compliant, accumulacy, or evil. Self-view as an evil. Abuser forces victim into double binds that causes the victim to feel culpable. Directives are communicated during severe abuse, convincing affected personalities that the abuse will reoccur if the propaganda mandate is broken, or program mandate is broken. The most common are remember to forget the abuse and don't tell about the abuse. A central function of most mind control is to cause the victim to physically and psychologically re-experience the torture used to install the programming, should she or he act in violation of programmed commands. The re-experience of the original torture often includes a somatic manifestation of the original injuries, such as bruising and swelling, though not to the degree of the original injury. Oh, and it's undimensional directives. That's what that was. Spiritual programming, evil attachments, claims, curses, covenants, etc. Witchcraft, ritual abuse seeks to attach evil entities, spirits or abusers, and demons to disassociated identities to harass and control victims for their entire lives. Claims, curses, covenants, hexes, vexes, etc. are used to forever malevolently define victims as evil. Hold on. Sorry about that. Define victims as evil, physically or mentally ill, socially devalued and isolated, sexually enslaved, a murderer, a cult member, a witch, etc. Recently, I found out that record labels are sent to an altar with a pentagram around it, and there are evil spirits that are placed on the album itself, and those evil spirits go with whoever gets that album. And that's just one. There's so many. It happens to all of them. Spiritual programming. This is what's happening to everyone. Spiritual programming. These constant hearing, even the commercials, they're horrible. It's programming. It's MK Ultra mind control programming. Psychic driving. Taped messages are played for hours nonstop while the person is in the states of consciousness altered by sleep, electroshock, sensory deprivation, inadequate food, water, sleep, oxygen, isolated confinement, or other torture. In 1997, the U.S. CIA was sued by a number of Dr. Cameron's ex-patients. The Canadian court found in favor of the patients who endured Dr. Cameron's torture in the name of creating a more efficient Manchurian candidate for the CIA, companioned by Alan Dulles, the man behind the MK Ultra projects. Electroshock, according to Dr. Cameron's protocol, would do the following: amnesia, much more recent memory, yet she still knew where she was, why she was there, and who the people who were treated her. That is called keeping your space-time image. The subject knows where she is, why she is there, and recognize familiar faces. Names are harder. In the second electroshock amnesia stage, the subject loses that time-space or that space-time image and is aware of the loss. That awareness causes extreme anxiety. The subject wants to remember. At his stage, the subject asks repeatedly, "Where am I? How do I get here? What am I here for?" Third stage is the final stage. The subject becomes bizarrely calm, and the previous anxiety is gone. And at this point, the patient was moved back to their room, where a speakerphone had to be placed under their pillow. A tape recorder with a continuous loop played, repeating the same command over and over again. While in this state, patients showed inconsistency of both urine and feces. So sad. Like, and this is what's happening now. We think that it's okay just to sleep with these things beside our head, and we don't even realize what's going on. Oh my goodness. Manipulation of the inner psychological world of the child. Oh, the first steps of discipline. Oh, they're just showing the third step, to not wish. The child is placed in a room with favorite toys or objects. A kind adult comes into the room and engages with the child in play. This adult may be friend, aunt, parent, or trainer. The child and adult may engage in fantasy play about the child's secret wishes, dreams, and wants. This will occur on several occasions, and the child's trust is slowly gained. At some later point, the child is severely punished for any aspect of wishing or fantasy shared with the adult, including the destruction of favorite toys, going in and out, and going or destroying secret safe places the child may have created, or even destroying non-cult cult protectors. This step is repeated with variations many times over the ensuing years. Mm, 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 mm. Exercises like this are also used to create young alters in the child who will self-report to the cult trainers any secret safe place or covert wishes against the cult that other alters have. This will then begin to set up an trust system, hostility, and diverseness, which the cult will manipulate throughout the person's lifespan in order to control them. This is, if you really watch cartoons, you see what they're doing. It's this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, well, let's see. Trauma-based mind control. Trauma-based mind control programming can be defined as systematic torture that blocks the victim's capacity for conscious processing through pain, terror, drugs, illusion, sensory deprivation, sensory overstimuli, oxygen deprivation, cold, heat, spinning brain stimulation, and other near death, and then employs suggestion and or other classical and operative conditions consistent with the well-established behavior modification principles to implant thoughts, directives, and perceptions in the unconscious mind, often in newly formed trauma-induced dissociated identities that force the victim to do, feel, think, or perceive things for the purpose of the programmer. The objective is for the victim to follow directives with non-conscious awareness, including execution of acts in clear violation of the victim's moral principles, spiritual convictions, and volitation. Dude, this is happening so big. Ones that are doing things like, they're like, I don't even know why I did that. I just went, I said this, or I did this. I don't even know why I did that. I would have never done something like that. But they're doing it. People are through cartoons, video games, television, music, bands. We've all been taught how to laugh, how to joke, how to cry, how to love, all taught their way of joking, their way of laughing, their way of loving, and it's all distorted. It's all a distorted way of being. It's not of Yeshua for sure. Installation of mind control programming relies on the victim's capacity to disassociate, which permits the creation of new walled off personalities to hold and hide programming. Already disassociative children are prime candidates for programming. And people are just giving their children devices nowadays. At the age of 3 months old, they're sitting there playing with their little device. The extreme abuse inflicted on young children in intrafamilial satanic and black witchcraft, not Wicca, cults reliable causes disassociation. Children in these cults are programmed to the extent that the cult's leaders understand mind control programming. Many ritual abuse survivors report that the other abuser groups with criminal, political, and military agendas infiltrate their familial cults to gain access to these readily programmable children, to program them to fulfill their own agendas, often paying the cult parents large sums of money to do so. Oh, and there's so much on that as well. Let's see here. The Glockenspiel. Okay. Let's go here. Okay. Oh, making sure all y'all are lovely and doing a fine job, and everybody's doing their thing. I love Marie. You're still up. I'm so glad you are, though. I was glad you got to see it. Be up and in with the live streaming with us. Okay, the history of movies. Movie industry as we know it today originated in the early 19th century through a series of technological developments. The creation of photography, the discovery of the illusion of the motion by combining individual still images, and the study of human and animal locomotion. The history presented here begins at the culmination of these technological developments, where the idea of the motion picture as an entertainment industry first emerged. Since then, the industry has sensed extraordinary transformations, some driven by the artistic visions of individual participants, some by commercial necessity, and still others by accident. The history of cinema is complex, and for every important innovator and movement listed here, others have been left out. Nonetheless, after reading this section, you will understand the broad arc of the development of medium that has captured the imaginations of audiences worldwide for over a century. So we're not going to read this, but this guy in 1891, Thomas Edison, together with William Dixon, a young laboratory, came out with what they called the kinetoscope, a device that would become predecessor to motion picture projector. It was a small little thing. Perforated celluloid film strip with a sequence of images, and it was rapidly spooled between a light bulb and a lens, creating the illusion of motion. Britannica. studio and Edison's camera produced kinescope film sequences, circus performances, dancing women, cockfights, boxing matches, and even a tooth extraction by a dentist. Why? Why that one? So apparently, it was nothing for ones to be walking around and watching these little things. So they had their own little televisions. It wasn't such a it wasn't a computer that you can research and look, but it was definitely a little mind control object that everyone carried around and did their thing. Oh, no, that one wasn't yet. This one is the big machine, right? And you put 25 cents in it and you get to see what was going on. Then these guys in 1895, not too long after the sound Hertz was found, and before the Rockefellers take over, and the Rothschilds brothers patent the cinematograph, from which we would get the term cinema, a lightweight film projector that also functioned as a camera and printer. Lightweight, fast. They've been trying to get people to do this stuff for years. Per projector called the Vitascope. First film screening in April of 1896. So we've got television that's come out. We got radios that are getting bigger, and it's just a whole brand new world of technology just stepping on in. Here, there, it was a film that workers leaving the luminary factory, and so it was just a film of watching them leaving a factory. But this was so big. It wasn't about what was on the film. It was about what we can see, like these moving pictures of ones that we see every day with our own eyes walking out. We can see it every day. They're doing this. They're walking out of this factory. But let's all gather together in one little room and watch a 15-second film that shows us the same thing we can go outside and look at 9 o'clock in the evening, or 6 o'clock in the evening. No. They were good. 1912 released his last commercial successful production. So I guess he died in 1912. Bump. This, what is that? That's an old picture is what that is. Painting. 1903, that's when Einstein what did Einstein do in 1903? Either way. Great train ride. Oh, look, known as the Nickelodeons. Nickelodeon. That's programming. What I just did there, that is programming. So Nickelodeon's popularity, the established film, and that's not Nickelodeon that they have on today. I'm sure it has a lot to do with it, absolutely positive, 100%, but it's not what they're talking about here. They called it Nickelodeon. I guess the film mass entertainment media. Okay. 1912 was this. United States, 1912, highly successful Queen Elizabeth. Okay, but we're done with that. Just kind of wanted to show y'all more of the dates. they really want us to be up in this glockenspiel. This timing clock was added. Okay, look, we're gonna go to this glockenspiel because apparently this is something that every day the city's central square charmed with onlookers with the chins aimed skywards. They're watching one of the city's most loved audits, the Munich glockenspiel or Carillon. This chiming clock was added to the tower of the newest Rathus new town hall. The year the building was completed is 1907. So this building was created, it was completed around the same year that 440 Hertz was starting to come about, that the Hertz was found, But this is what I wanted to show y'all. Does it say about him? Because this is the same guy that changed all orchestras in Germany to 440 Hertz. So shows Bavarian knight battling a French jouster. The groom became famous as the man founded the famous Habrahus, and rather infamous for leading massive witch hunts across the domain. Witch hunts. Oh, here it is. On lower level, you can see the red-coated city's copper do the ritualistic jig known as Schaflertsnatz. The dance is popular thought to have begun in the devastating plague year of 1517, but it actually dates back further. But this guy, what does it say? Every 7 years. Here it goes. Legend says the coppers started the dance to give Munich's residents the all clear that the plague was done and dusted. The Bavarian Duke William VIII ordered the dance to be reenacted every 7 years to keep the deadly disease in the collective memory. He knew that this was a powerful thing. You got to keep the mind of the people in subjection. They've got to remember, they can't forget. So every 7 years, he has them do this dance, these little dudes on the glockenspiel, to remind them of the pandemic. The virus. That there are no viruses. They did it. They fed them this somehow, some way. They fed it to them. More grab it. So there's one cat. I just wanted to show y'all this just real quick. Because this one guy that actually in the article of the ones that were slaves in Tennessee of the MK Ultra Mind Control Project, he says that they teach us that our brain is what keeps our memory. But what he's saying is that it's not our brain that has our memory in it, that there is this field, this morphogenic field that is around us, and that's where our memory is stationed. And when he said it, I looked it up, and actually, here, I'll show you. You can go back to this, because there's more than just this through the trance stuff. There's more on here than just this story. Man, you should research it. But they have in the beginning of it talks you can see that you can push on, and that's where I was listening to him talk about this photogenic microphogenic field. And I did some research, and come to find out he ain't messing around. It's a fact, Jack. Oh, and then I did it on flat Earth. Oh, yeah. Definitely something to this, I believe. I think that there is something to this. this field. Ooh, I should put that on my background, huh? Let me do that. Oh, wait, I know what I can do. I could take a picture of this thing. Web capture. Oh. Did he do it? I don't know. I can't ever find these guys. Thanks for playing along with me. Okay, so we have looked up this morphogenic field, and it's just very interesting. I think this guy is saying that this is what's around us and this is what holds our memories and stuff. I don't know. I haven't done much research in it, but I thought that I would show y'all. Fixing to get rid of you because we just researched you. We just went into you and you're gone, buddy. You are gone. Let's just go ahead and go get that out of there. So in 1908, December 1908, so in 1909, the motion picture inventors and industry leaders organized the first great film trust called the Motion Picture Patents Company, designed to bring stability to the chaotic early film years. Right, January 09, deadline, license. Unlicensed outlaws who referred to themselves as independents protested the trust and carried on business without submitting to the Edison monopoly. Thomas Edison monopoly. Again, we have ones that were wanting to trust. So this guy right here, he is, what was it, the owner of Paramount Pictures, Majestic Films, famous player. No, Independent Motion Picture Company, or IMP. It was this guy, I believe, right here. A top guy during this time, and they're saying that he fought against this trust. Apparently, there was a trust that was going on in 1909, and they were really trying to push that ones had to sign papers and to do independent filming. But the thing is the independent films, this one guy is doing ones on vampires and stuff. So I think that it was all just a part of their control. You know, they got to get others to be scared to go into the license. Get the rich ones of opposition, and then eventually the ones that are opposing, they're going to turn that way, right? But it's going to seem like they were forced into it, but they're going to eventually turn that way, and then they're going to say, oh, we made a mistake, we did it wrong. It was planned the whole time. Okay. Rudolph Valentino, 1911, day tango ballroom dance exhibit. True tango madness among the youth of America did not reach a zenith until 1920-21, the release of the film The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Tango in the film The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse had something that Vernon and Irene Castle did not, the pure raw sensuality that was Rudolph Valentino. Now, this guy, this Rudolph Valentino, his wife would lay and she would channel spirits, demons, disembodied spirits, the giants, fallen angels, whatever you want to call. She would channel these things, and then she would speak speak what it was that was being channeled. Someone would write it down, and they would give it to the director. And all of Rudolph Valentino's movies, well, I won't say all of them because I'm not for sure, but I'm pretty daggone positive, they were written from channeling spirits, because they're spells. That's what they are. All the movies, all of them. There is no in between. Not only was it through Vision of the Rudolph against No, there was one that this woman was talking about, and it was out of the Bible. This June Mathis woman. But she has all this evil stuff that she does. June Mathis later wrote about her experiences with an article titled The Wavelength. See, man, they were looking for those electromagnetic waves. They found them, and then they're just like putting in your face. Boom. Oh, I wanted to show y'all this one spot. Oh, Metro Studios. Mathis met the great Russian actress. Some biography. Mathis to write the scenario for Eye for an Eye, a lost film. One of the women. No, that's not it. She believed in the magical properties of an opal ring that she always wore when writing, and incarnation, spiritualism, and the book of Revelation. One of the reasons she insisted on Metro buying the rights to Vincent Blasco's The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. She was into reincarnation, spiritualism, and the book of Revelation. The Book of Revelations. This is a filmmaker who worked with Valentino, whose wife channeled spirits, who eventually became an Egyptologist. Dude, seriously, this is what started films. This is what started our movies. Around the same time that they're finding these hurts, and that Rockefeller Foundation, Rothschilds are making their bank system in the United States, at least, but all over the world. It all adds up. It's all the same stuff for sure. What's this? Let's check on y'all. Oh, all right. Let's go back. Okay. Oh, the guy said that now I don't know if it was true or not, but he said that that Hillary Clinton and a few other witches gathered around him, the one that threw the trance in the Tennessee story, MK Ultra, gathered around him and chanted that his mind would be put into a fourth dimension, and that and he would never get out of it. And that's a theta. I think it was a theta state of being sleep, pretty much. That. What happened? East Coast. 1916, 1910. Okay, we need to read this one. I just kind of want to show y'all, United States Motion Picture Corporation established its main office in a building in downtown Wilkes-Barre in 1915. 1915. United States Motion Picture Corporation. All big things. All big things. Okay. This one. Boom. The height of the Cold War in the 1950s, the CIA carried out Project MK Ultra mind control experiments by dosing scores of helpless subjects with massive amounts of hallucinogens. Though it may sound like science fiction, although the CIA tried to deny them for years, the mind control experiments of Project MK Ultra were all too real. For more than a decade, at the height of the Cold War, CIA researchers abused helpless subjects in some of the most disturbing experiments in history. Convinced the Soviet Union had developed mind control capabilities, the CIA tried to do the same with MK Ultra starting in 1953. What followed was an expansive program undertaken across 80 institutions, universities, and hospitals. Each one carried out torturous experiments, including electrocution, verbal and sexual abuse, and dosing subjects with massive quantities of LSD. Is this the one that goes down and gives me... No, it is not. What was it that I wanted y'all to see on here? We pretty much just read all of that. Yeah. Done with that one. That's what it is. Too slow. Okay, we don't know me. You're out of here. Bye. Oh, that was the guy that was against the trust. Boom. This is the one that I really wanted to get to because what I wanted to show you... Oh, did I save the other one? Because this one is not as detailed as this one that I'm looking for here. Well, really, we don't have to go through them because it's a lot. Okay, you know what? We're just going to stay on this one. And all these are the MK Ultra sub projects. Man, I'd really like to find the other one. Really, and what I have found, what I have found is there are like 149 sub projects, 159 sub projects for the MK Ultra. Most of them are dealing with food intake. The researching of different plants and oh, there it is. Plants and food and what goes into our body. We buy everything at the grocery stores. And what we buy there, it does. It resonates a frequency. What we put into our body, it resonates a frequency. You know what I'm saying? Like this food, this food. Drugs, light is involved. and y'all can look into this yourself. I've read and went over and went over and went over. Actually, I'll show you what I've done. What I have done is I have sound. These are the numbers that have sound in them. Plants. These are the numbers that have plants in them. That where they use the project as plants, plant study and whatnot for MK Ultra projects. Petroleum, what was it? 104 or 143? Let's go down and see. I thought this one was very interesting. Oh, come on. 104. Possible use in petroleum sabotage. Study of the relationships between the two principal classes of microorganisms involved in the deterioration of petroleum products for possible use in petroleum sabotage. And then 143. And, and all this time I've been thinking, I've just been focusing so much on the sound of MK Ultra that I haven't looked into the other to determine if the growth of microisms in petroleum products can be markedly increased by the addition of substatic concentrations of antimicrobial agents may have wide application to all areas of biological sabotage. Let's talk about petroleum. Rockefeller Foundation, the oil company, petroleum, using it is a biological sabotage. The Rothschilds, Rockefellers funded this. This is the sub projects, which is the document that shows what has been funded for the MK Ultra projects, the funding for it, and we know that the ones that funded it are the Rothschilds. They've freaking funded all of it. All of it. Okay. What was this one? It is an Illuminati book. John Todd's Introduction to Atlas Shrugged. Actually, these things much more. Okay. I haven't read enough of that to even say anything on it. So we're gonna go. Bye. Which one? Oh. The idea of voices in the head has traditionally been viewed as the paranoid ravings of crazy people. But what many dismiss as fantasy has become a decades-long government black project of mind control. Mental hospital patients have a history of being targeted for electronic experimentation via the use of extremely low frequency waves, which can cause silent subliminal messages mimicking psychosis. And the thing is it's low frequencies. You can't hear them. They're just coming, I do have that patent, a silent communication system in which non-aerial carriers in the very low or very high audio frequency range or in the ultrasonic frequency range or in the adjacent ultrasonic frequency spectrum are amplitude or frequency modulated with the desired intelligence and propagated acoustically or vibrationally for inducement into the brain, typically through the use of loudspeakers, earphones, and piezoelectric transducers. Other side effects of ELF waves include irreversible brain damage, leaks in the blood-brain barrier, skin cancer, fatal tissue damage, and heart attack. even the food that is being ate today is causing these things. Xanthan gum that's in just about everything, boxed foods, canned foods, jarred foods, xanthan gum causes, it's bad for you. High fructose corn syrup is horrible for you. All of these dyes, they're horrible for you. And they all are working with the sound waves, the low frequencies, because they resonate a frequency as well. Do you understand? The food itself resonates a frequency and it's put into your body. And then those frequencies work with the frequencies they hear from outside. It's just boom. It's the hugest MK Ultra project, mind control project I've ever seen in my life. And it's really, they've done it. They've done it. Everyone carries a phone. Everyone is hit with this. And now every store is just about got a widescreen, flat screen television up on and before you know it, you're gonna have flat screen televisions and elevators. They're gonna be in there. Probably are now. Okay. Y'all can go through this. All right. We're done with that one. Give it time. Apparently, I'm not giving her enough time to. All right. Now we have read that one. Oh. I tried to look it up. Actually, there might be one that's right after it. I'm pretty good about that. Boom. Oh, no, it's going to take us to our other guy. Okay. I think we've almost done it, y'all. I think we've almost got through all this. It's exciting. Let's see what y'all in. Oh, nobody in there talking. Okay. Bree probably went to sleep. Would not doubt it. She's in Australia. It's fine. Knowing that I'm up at early in the morning and it's her bedtime. Where did this come from? I don't know. I don't know what this is. Okay. You're gone. I have no idea what you are. Boom. You're out of here. Both y'all out of here. Oh, nothing's going to. Oh. Oh, that was interesting. Right. Come to find out the Wizard of the Odds had the poppy field. Yeah. And I really believe that poppies, the opiate epidemic and this technology run hand in hand. I mean, it does. This MK Ultra project is the biggest project, y'all. Solid liquid crystals. What's going on here? Rotary power. Describe the phenomenon. Okay. I think I started getting lazy down here at the book because, man, I've just been looking through all this stuff for days. What's this? Bioelectrical symbols, bioelectric signals. Oh, okay. The light and the sound communicating between one another. They're kind of calling it bioelectric signals. Okay. Mhm. Okay. I think that's so amazing that sound and light communicate between your cells. It's just, that is amazing. Mm, absolutely. What foods contain petroleum? Oh, I thought it. Used to manufacture clothes, computers, cleaning products. In the food industry is known as mineral oil. Oh my goodness. Where could petroleum be lurking into your pantry? I remember petroleum is researched for the destruction of your biology, your body, your I'm saying it wrong. Read on as we uncover some of the most common places the controversial ingredient hides. Packaged baked goods often contain petroleum as a way of keeping them fresh, while regular flour, water, egg, milk, and sugar combinations go bad relatively quick. Mineral oil keeps them at their prime for weeks. Petroleum oil. Some chocolates are made with petroleum. You'll see this labeled as food grade paraffin wax. Paraffin wax. Any product that contains ulstra is also a cause for concern. Plastic. It is an ingestible plastic with similar properties to mineral oil. TBHQ, aka Tarot, I ain't doing it, is a major cause of concern as it's found in a myriad of products, from frozen chicken nuggets and pizzas to rice crackers and cookies. Supermarkets are brimming with TBHQ. Petroleum derived products are commonly used in kaleidoscope of food colorings. Oh, kaleidoscope of food colorings. These are added to everything from corn chips to fresh apples. They may not necessarily be classified as edibles, but painkillers and vitamins are often packed full of petrochemicals. That includes like your vitamins, your vitamin C, fish oil, all the vitamins that will take, multivitamins that ones will take daily because they think it's good for them. No, you're just killing yourself, or you're just adding to the negative frequency to your body. That's what you're doing. Food additives can also be packed full of petroleum. Canned products are a particular concern as oil is used to extend their shelf lives. Mm, right. They found links to cancer, ADHD in children, and a plethora of health problems. Right. Because the combination of the foods and the music, or the sound, not just music, but the sound waves that are being shot at us, and then the light, it's just like, woo, party time for the elitists. They have got everybody in mass delusion. Now remember, our Lord says he's the one who sends the delusions. None of this would be happening unless our Father allowed it to be. And that's a fact, Jack. Ones continued to fall to the worship of the sun and moon and stars, and they allowed this technology to come on in. And the thing is until ones turn away from the iniquity of our fathers, realize that we have been under the iniquity of our fathers. That's more when you realize it, and start praying about it, then you will see a change in the body of the Messiah. What we got going on here? The Great 440, Hertz conspiracy, and why all of our music is wrong. All of our music is wrong. Gather round, young'uns. Those of you with tinfoil hats may wish to ensure that they're fitted snugly. What I'm about to tell you will shake your faith in all music you've heard in your life. If you look down the right paths, okay, it's begin with music theory. If musical performances were to sound the same the world over, some standardization was required. As early as 1885, the Music Commission of the Italian government declared that all instruments and orchestras should use a tuning fork that vibrated at 440 hertz, which was different from the original 435 or 432. In 1917, the American Federation of Musicians endorsed the Italians, followed by a further push for 440 in the 1940s. In 53, a worldwide agreement was signed, declared that the middle A on the piano be forevermore tuned to exactly 440. This frequency became the standard ISO 16 reference for tuning all musical instruments based on the chromatic scale, the one most often used for music in the West. All the other notes are tuned in standard mathematical ratio, leading to and from 440. This tone standard is now universally accepted, which is why piano is Toronto sounds exactly the same as piano in China. Weirdly, no one can say for sure why this frequency was chosen in the first place. In fact, there are those among us who vehemently disagree with this standard. In fact, they consider the 440 middle A to be an abomination against nature. Interesting. Let's see. Oh. All right. So there's that. Y'all can go in and look at that for yourselves if you'd like to. Bone and bone. I don't think I'm going to erase that one because I would like to go back and read that myself. I've been on here for a long time, so I'm not going to be on here for too much longer. 440 hertz. It is said the Rockefeller Foundation had an interest in making sure the United States adopted the 440 standard in 35 as part of a war on consciousness, leading to musical cult control. Without going too far down the rabbit hole, this theory says that tuning all musical to 440 turns it into a military weapon. I agree. And you don't even realize it. You don't even realize that it has become a military weapon. That's how hard it is. Oh, these again. All these things. Did we want to read this one? Because it just looks like it's going to make me... Okay. I don't like the ones that try to make me do the whole cookie thing. It makes me feel like they're a psyop. One, Earth is not our mother. Eve was called the mother of us all, and Jerusalem is called the mother of us all. Eve is called the mother of all creation. And Jerusalem is called the mother of us all in Galatians chapter 4. So this Mother Earth, I disagree. Absolutely not. Now they're saying, and I looked it up, I did some research and come to find out apparently the rhythm is the frequency of 7.83 for Mother Earth. It's 783 alpha theta brainwave frequency. See, I think they put us all in this delta. Put ones all in the delta frequency. And that's why the delta variant was so important to them. It's them telling, saying, oh, look, we got them now. And so much more of mind control. Saying the Earth's electromagnetic frequency is out of balance. Electromagnetic waves are out of balance. The electromagnetic field generated by power supply systems, telecommunications, appliances, computers, and other technology produced by humans are extremely powerful and in some cases have been associated with increased incidence of cancer, heart disease, depression, and other diseases. Exposure to strong electromagnetic fields is in residential areas and in certain occupations has been documented as significantly increasing the incidence or risk of the listed diseases. And found to be more sensitive or susceptible to adverse effects from these fields. Elderly, children, and women, pregnant women, have found to be weak to this. Boom. Okay, done with that. Starting to get tired of looking at this computer, and I love y'all, and I'm hoping that okay, when I get done doing this, I would like to do if one of y'all would like to come on, I'm gonna put a stream link, and we can talk as long as you like. But I ain't gonna be reading nothing else because I'm tired of looking at this thing. Boom, gone. All this stuff. It's ridiculous. All this stuff. Is this the one we're on? Schumann's resonance. Right, the piano tuner. He got the tuning fork. Importance of 432 music omega. Okay, we did that one. Dancing Mania. We did that one. Now we didn't look at